Shifting your weight in the golf swing does not have to be a difficult thing. It does not have to be something where we have to do this monumental effort to do something that we see the pros do. If you understand how to move correctly, and you can have things that will help you visualize moving correctly, this becomes so much easier and it becomes a lot more effortless. And when we can do something like shift our weight correctly in the swing, it takes care of one of our biggest pieces, which is how our body moves in the swing. If your body moves correctly in the swing, you then have the ability to have a fundamentally sound golf swing. Now, there's obviously some other factors involved other than your body. So when I talk about the body, I'm just talking about eliminating the hands, arms, and club, and anything that the body is doing that correctly is vitally important. So if you've ever seen yourself kind of finish in a position where you're a little bit hunched over, there's a little bit of a cave between the upper body and the lower body in the finish, versus this finish that you see all the touring pros get into, which is nice and tall, nice straight line, then you're probably going to want to pay close attention to this, because this is more of a byproduct than it is something that they're doing on purpose. So it's a kind of a byproduct of moving your body correctly, which gets us into that beautiful finishing position. So it's going to do two things. It's going to make us look better, but the more important part, it's going to make our mechanics better through impact if we just understand an easy way to shift our weight correctly. So if you're familiar with the Top Speed Golf System, in the stable fluid spine course, this is vitally, vitally important. You're going to see that touring pros, on average, are going to increase their spine angle as they would from address pretty immensely here. So our spine, through impact, is going to be tilted much further away from the target than it is at address. So if I'm at my address position here, we want to roughly have, tour average is going to be between 6 and 8 degrees of tilt away from the target. On the downswing, you can see I'm going to be tilted much further forward. Now, weight shift has a lot to do with this, because we need to get our weight onto our lead foot in order to shift our weight. But you're thinking, a lot of players struggle with this, and you're probably thinking, if I'm leaned back, how is my weight going to get forward? Well, it's going to be one of those things where we have to understand how to move correctly. Now, where a lot of players get bogged down on this is starting to try to open the hips too much, and they don't ever shift their weight. Big mistake right there. So the thing that we're going to do is we're going to use some visualization to make this very, very simple. Because if I was to execute ideal weight shift mechanics in the golf swing, this is all it would be. It's a very, very simple move. I'm staying in posture, my hips are opening, and my spine is increasing. If we can do those, then we are good to go. So the visualization we're going to do. Let's first go over what we want to see on camera. On camera, what you want to have at address is you want your spine tilted a little bit from the target. Then on the downswing, we're going to talk about our midline. That's if we split both of our feet equal distance and we draw a straight line straight out of the ground. That's going to be our midline. On the downswing, when the hands get to about waist height on the other side of the swing, we want our nose behind that midline, but we want our belt buckle way in front of that midline. If we do that, then our spine is going to be increased away from the target. Now, doing this correctly is what we're about to go over in the visualization here that I love to use with my online students, is utilizing a very, very simple visual of stabbing the wall with their hip. So what we're going to imagine here is that we have a stake or a stick or something poking directly out of our hip. So this would be coming like directly out of my pant seam, straight out of the hips right here. So the first big piece is actually getting this spine to increase. That's all we're worried about. Then we're going to talk about how we open the hips while increasing the spine angle. So the visualization here is we're going to visualize this stick coming right off of our lead hip, and then on the downswing, we're going to feel like there's a wall about, let's just say 12 inches in front of the lead foot. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure, actually let's go ahead and just shorten the stick just to make this really easy. We're going to have about a 6-inch stick sticking outside the wall. Wall's going to be 12 inches in front, and what we're going to do is we're going to feel like we stab that wall while keeping our nose behind the midline. So in order to shift our weight, we have to get that stick over to that wall. If I just twist, that stick will never get there, and my weight will not shift. So that's going to be the first goal, is just to get a sensation that, hey, I've got a stick coming out of my lead hip. When I get up to the top of the swing, I'm going to stab that wall while keeping my nose behind my midline. So let's go ahead and do just a nice little easy swing there. And again, you see, I'm not going to worry too much about rotation, but when you start doing this, you'll see you're actually going to, you might even open up more than you already are, but you're going to be open at impact. So when I go up to the top, okay, all I did there was make sure that I increased my spine angle. So obviously I'm holding my finish here a little bit, But the idea is to get that spine cooking. Let's get it moving first and foremost. Once we can see that the belt buckle is in front of the midline and the nose is behind when the hands are about waist height level. Again, from there, we can everything can kind of come up. Now we're going to talk about how we start opening up the hips. So we're going to use the same visualization of that stick coming out of the hips right now. And we're going to come over, we're going to make sure that we stab the wall. But once we stab that wall, what we're going to feel like we're doing is we've stuck this stick in the wall. We're going to feel like we throw the wall behind us. Essentially, I was going to say to our left, but if you're righty, it's going to be to your right. We're going to stab the wall and throw it behind us. And that's going to be the sensation. When I come up, I'm going to stab the wall. And once I've got my stick in that wall, I'm going to throw it behind me. And so you can see that's going to have a really nice effect on automatically wanting to release that club. So we're going to do a nice easy swing here. My sensation is going to be sticking the stick into the wall. And then once it's stuck into the wall, I'm going to throw that wall behind me. So let's take a nice easy swing here. There we go. So pretty darn good shot right there. But the more important part is I can really feel the sensation of increasing that spine angle and getting into that position we see all the touring pros get into as far as increasing it. So what we're going to do is start off with easy swings, really feeling the sensation of sticking into the wall and then pulling it behind us. So as you can see, when I'm demonstrating this with really good visualizations is when I'm sticking that stick into the wall, you can see that I'm much more apt to stay in posture. When I actually feel like I'm pulling the wall behind me, you can see that lead leg start to post up nicely. There's a lot of things that happen automatically by visualizing the things that help with getting the movements that we need to get into the swing. So once we get some good sensations of actually getting this on camera, and we can actually physically see the belt buckle move forward as the nose stays behind, get the sensation that we're pulling that wall to the left after we've stuck the stick into it. We're going to get some nice feels from that, get really nice and used to it. Then we can get used to that spine moving correctly on every single swing. Now there we go. I'm going to stick my finish right here. You can see I didn't even really think about getting into this finishing position. All I really thought about was stabbing that wall, pulling it to the left, everything posted up, had some good momentum to pull me into a nice big full finish. You can see you can correct that finish, but it's going to highly, highly promote a proper finishing position. But more importantly, it's going to help you increase the spine angle, shift your weight properly, and open the hips. It's just one small thing that could help your mind see how the weight shift and the hips are supposed to work in the swing. Now, something that can absolutely destroy this immediately is this one move that I see so many players do, which is rushing from the downswing. It's a move that's in your mind that you think you have to do when you have to pull down from the top of the swing. I know you've heard this I've heard this my whole career at the top of the swing. You almost want to pull this shaft down. Well, what happens is if we pull down and we do this and we think this is what we're supposed to do, it's going to make a move like this almost impossible to do because it's going to steepen out the shaft. Now from here, I'm not going to want to shift my weight over. I'm not going to want to increase my spine angle because I'm going to have to do something to get this club head to shallow out, which is most likely going to stand up, get this club to shallow out, then I have to try to save it. And then I'm never going to be able to stay in posture, shift my weight over, and rotate through. And then, of course, we're going to have that dreaded finish where everything's kind of falling off to the right a little bit that I see so often. Now, this move is very easy to eliminate if we understand exactly how to do so. Head instructor and owner Clay Ballard has a bonus video that I'm going to play for you right after this video that's going to show you exactly how to eliminate that and that move that you're doing so that we can start allowing moves like this to happen in the swing. Because if you could be patient in the downswing on purpose and then from there increase your spine angle and we pair those two up, then there's really not a whole lot that can go wrong in the swing and the ball strike is going to take a huge jump. So to check out that video, make sure you click on the iCard that's popping up on the screen. If you don't see that iCard, that's fine. You can click on the link that's immediately in the description below. It'll take you right to that video and we can get started on making sure we're patient so we can allow the correct moves to happen. We'll see you here in the next lesson.
Now the bottom line is that by trying to ring that bell or pull the hands down more from the inside, it gets the club shaft steep and runs your entire downswing. Now, what you end up having to do is to keep from just keeping down on that steep angle and burying the club behind the golf ball, you have to stand up out of your posture, and that's really the root cause of all your problems. Now, maybe you're being outdriven way too often, or you're terribly inconsistent with your strikes. Some of your shots are heavy, some of them are thin, some of them are off the toe, and then the next ones are way off the heel. Now you end up way over in the trees, you're in the tall grass, or maybe even the hazards all day long, and it really comes down to this. Clay, how in the heck do we fix it? Well, there's some good news. Well, there's only two things that you need to learn. First, you need to learn to shallow the club rather than pulling the hands down and getting the shaft in this steep position. You see, there's another way that the pros do this, and once you start to get that club on this shallower plane, more from the inside, then you pair that up with the right way to square the club face. And once you put these two things together, everything starts to fit in your swing. Now your buddies will start to get a little bit jealous because you'll start hitting solid, longer drives, time after time, and round after round. Now I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the E-slot technique. Let's walk through exactly how to do it. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and take a swing to the top and get in a really good position. I want you to feel like your weight is mostly shifted to your right side and that your hips and shoulders are nice and free. I don't want to be locked up here. I want my knees to move, my hips to move. That's going to allow me to swing my shoulders very nicely. Now, one thing that most people get wrong when they swing to the top is they don't get this tilt away from the target. So instead of being straight up and down or leaning to the left, I want to be slightly tilted away in what I call the stable fluid spine in my topspeed golf system. Okay, so now that you're at this great position at the top of the swing, what I want you to do is instead of pulling those arms straight down or ringing the bell, that's going to get the club shaft steep and get this elbow kind of flapping behind your body. I want you to do something very specific. I want you to take the tip of your elbow and move it in a specific way. Now, not this small bone on the inside of your elbow, but I want it to be right here at the tip, and here's what I want you to do.